Scientists just discovered something shocking about one generation. They're mentally stronger than millennials, more adaptable than boomers. And they built these skills by being ignored as children? This is the psychology of Generation X, the generation nobody talks about. And what researchers found will change how you see resilience forever. And today's topic? Generation X. Born between 1965 and 1980, they're sandwiched between the boomers and millennials. Often forgotten, rarely discussed. But psychologists have discovered something incredible about how their childhood shaped them into who they are today. So let's break it down. First, let's talk about their childhood, because it was wild. Gen X kids came home to empty houses. No helicopter parents. No constant supervision. They had a key around their neck and figured things out themselves. Psychologists call them the Latchkey generation. Both parents were working. Divorce rates skyrocketed in the 70s and 80s. And kids, they learned independence by necessity. Here's what this did psychologically. Number 1, it created self-reliance. When you can't call mom every 5 minutes, you solve your own problems. Fast. Number 2, it built emotional resilience. They dealt with loneliness, boredom, and challenges without a safety net. Number 3, it fostered creativity. No apps. No endless content. Just imagination and whatever you could find in the garage. Studies show this early independence actually hardwired their brains differently. They became comfortable with uncertainty and skilled at adapting. But there's a darker side we need to talk about. Gen X is famously cynical. But psychology explains exactly why. They watched their parents work corporate jobs for decades, then get laid off. Loyalty didn't matter. They saw the Berlin Wall fall, the Challenger explosion, economic recessions, MTV telling them to question everything. Their trust in institutions shattered early. This created what psychologists call healthy skepticism. Gen X doesn't believe marketing hype. They read the fine print. They question authority. But here's the interesting part. This cynicism isn't negativity, it's protective realism. Research from the American Psychological Association shows Gen X scores high on pragmatism and critical thinking. They don't trust easily because they learned early. Promises get broken. Companies fail. You need to watch your own back. And this shaped their entire approach to life. Here's something most people don't know. Gen X invented modern work-life balance. Seriously. They watched their boomer parents sacrifice everything for corporate careers. And they said, no thanks. Psychological studies show Gen X was the first generation to actively prioritize personal time over promotions. They work to live, not live to work. Why? Because they value experiences over status. They saw their parents miss soccer games and family dinners for jobs that didn't care about them. Gen X decided differently. They're the generation that normalized, leaving work at 5 p.m., taking actual vacations, side hustles before they were trendy, not defining themselves by job titles. Psychology explains this as learned values from negative modeling. They saw what not to do, and course-corrected. But there's one more psychological trait that makes them unique. Has lived through more technological change than any generation before them. Think about it. They grew up with rotary phones, learned computers as adults, adapted to email, smartphones, social media, AI. They've gone from card catalogs to Google. From mixtapes to Spotify. From film cameras to iPhone selfies. And here's what's fascinating. Psychologists say this constant adaptation built something called cognitive flexibility. Unlike older generations who resist change, or younger ones who only know digital life, Gen X bridges both worlds. They can fix things and troubleshoot Wi-Fi. They remember life before technology but aren't afraid of new apps. Research shows this makes them incredibly valuable in workplaces. They translate between generations. They adapt without anxiety. They're the psychological sweet spot, experienced enough to have wisdom, flexible enough to embrace change. But with all this resilience, are they actually happy? Here's where it gets really interesting. Studies on generational happiness show Gen X falls right in the middle. Not the happiest. Not the most depressed. But here's the key, they're content. Psychological research reveals Gen X has lower anxiety levels than Millennials and Gen Z, better stress management than Boomers, realistic expectations that protect mental health. Why? Because they don't chase perfection. Social media didn't raise them with impossible standards. They're comfortable with good enough. They don't need constant validation. And here's the beautiful part. Studies show Gen X has some of the strongest friendship bonds. Those friends they made in the 80s and 90s? Still close. Because they built relationships face to face. Psychologists say this combination, realistic expectations plus deep connections, creates sustainable well-being. They might not post about gratitude every day, but they're quietly living balanced lives. So what can we learn from Gen X psychology? Lesson 1. Independence is powerful. Learning to solve your own problems builds confidence that lasts a lifetime. Lesson 2. Healthy skepticism protects you. Question things. Read between the lines. Don't believe every promise. Lesson 3. Balance matters more than success. Your job isn't your identity. Your time is valuable. Protect it. Lesson 4. Adaptability is survival. The world keeps changing. Stay flexible. Learn new skills. Bridge old and new. Lesson 5. Real relationships beat online validation. Deep friendships matter more than follower counts. Gen X didn't have it easy, but psychology shows they built mental tools that serve them incredibly well. Maybe there's something to that latchkey kid life after all. So there you have it, the psychology of Generation X. The forgotten middle child who turned out to be secretly resilient, adaptable, and mentally tougher than anyone gave them credit for. Now I want to hear from you. If you're Gen X, does this match your experience? What shaped you most? If you're another generation, what surprised you most about Gen X psychology? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. And if you found this fascinating, hit that like button, it really helps more people discover this content. Subscribe for more psychology breakdowns that actually make sense. We post new videos every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay curious.